You have never once slept all the way through, not a single night in your whole life. Close your eyes for a second. Go on, right now. It feels like sleep is just a switch. Click, and you are gone until morning. You lie down. You hand yourself over to the dark. You let go of every bit of control. Total helplessness. You cannot hear, you cannot see, you cannot run, and you cannot fight. For hours in a row, you lie there warm, soft, and completely defenseless. Now picture yourself lying like that, except not in your bed. You are on bare ground. Around you is darkness, and something in it is breathing. And in the morning, you open your eyes anyway. Alive. Every single time. How? That question is where all of this begins. Because if you look at yourself honestly, through nature's eyes, you had no business surviving the night. Here, look. David Sampson, an anthropologist at the University of Toronto, spent years collecting data on how primates sleep. Chimps, lemurs, monkeys. And he found something simple. From body size, from the brain, from the way an animal lives, you can predict fairly well how long it should sleep. The formula works for almost every primate on the planet, except one. Except you. By that formula, a human should sleep around 10 hours. You sleep 7. Less than anyone. Less than any primate alive. A chimp, your closest relative, snoozes for 9.5. Some small monkeys sink into sleep for 15, even 17 hours a day. You grabbed your 7 and ran off to do something else. Fine, you say. We sleep little, but at least we sleep light. One eye open, always on guard. And here nature does a strange thing to you. It goes further than sleeping little. You sleep deeper than all of them. Almost a quarter of your night is spent in a phase called rapid eye movement sleep. In it, your brain runs almost like it does in daylight, while your body is switched off completely. Your muscles go slack, cut off, so you do not thrash around or get up while you dream. You lie there paralyzed, watching dreams. And no primate drops into that most defenseless phase as often as you do. Freeze the picture for a moment. A creature that sleeps the least of all, yet switches off the deepest of all. Lying limp, muscles disconnected, on open ground, in a world full of teeth. And your ancestors did not always sleep on the ground. Millions of years ago, they climbed up for the night, the way monkeys still do, into a tree. A tree is a bedroom and a fortress at once. High up, hard to reach, you can hear anything crawling up the trunk. And then, somewhere around 2 million years ago, humans came down, to the ground, to where the lions walk in the dark. Now be honest with yourself. You have felt this, even if you have never spent one night in a savanna. Think of your first night in a hotel, or at a friend's place on a strange couch, or in a tent out of town. You toss, you flinch at every rustle behind the wall, and in the morning, you are wrecked, as if you never slept at all. Everyone knows this feeling. In Japan, there is even a saying, "Change your pillow and you will not sleep." You think the problem is the uncomfortable bed. The problem has nothing to do with the bed. The problem is that someone inside you just woke up and stepped on to watch. In 2016, at Brown University, a team of scientists decided to crack this exact first night. Why we sleep so badly in a new place. Masako Tamaki and Yuka Sasaki took it on. They gathered 35 people, put them to sleep in a lab, and watched what was happening in the brain while a person lay there apparently resting. And they found something nobody expected. The human brain was not fully asleep. One hemisphere went down into deep sleep, as it should, but the other one, the left, stayed half awake. It was not resting with the rest of the brain. It was listening. The scientists quietly played different sounds to the sleeper, and it turned out this waking hemisphere jolts at a strange, unfamiliar sound and wakes the person faster. One half of the head sleeps, the other stands guard. The researchers gave it a name of their own, the night watch. Sit with what that means. You are in an unfamiliar place. You feel anxious. You did not sleep well, and you are cursing the thin pillow. When in reality, in that very moment, Your own brain split itself in two and posted a sentry. Half of you is guarding the other half, and you have no idea. You just think the hotel is mediocre. Dolphins can do this, by the way, and whales. They cannot switch off entirely, or they would stop surfacing for air and drown. So for them, only half the brain ever sleeps, while the other half keeps the watch. So on your first night in a new place, you sleep like a dolphin. Now here is the thing about this guard. He is not dumb. He does not leap up at every little rustle, or you would never sleep at all. He is tuned. He filters. Back in 1999, scientists showed a simple and slightly eerie thing. While a person sleeps, you can beep a flat, steady tone all you like, and they will keep sleeping. But whisper their own name, and the brain reacts in a completely different way. A sleeper will wake to their own name faster than to a random noise of the same volume. Later, in our own time, they added a detail. An unfamiliar voice wakes you harder than a familiar one. As you sleep, your brain seems to weigh whether a sound belongs, whether it is one of ours or a stranger, and decides whether to raise the alarm. You know this from the other side. A mother sleeps like the dead. Outside, a car alarm wails, thunder cracks, and she does not stir. But let her child in the next room give one small whimper, and she is already sitting up with her eyes open. Not some other child. Hers. The guard knew whose cry that was. This is what you are doing every night, while it feels to you like you are simply asleep. You do not shut down. You slip into a mode of quiet patrol. Part of you spends the whole night sorting the sounds of the dark into two piles. Ignore, danger. Ignore, danger. And this guard is older than you are, older than your language, older than your name, older than everything you think of as yourself. But one inner sentry is not enough. A single person, even with half a waking brain, will still drop into hard sleep for a couple of minutes. And a couple of minutes in the dark is already too long. So our ancestors built a second layer of defense. They stopped sleeping alone. In Tanzania, there is a people called the Hadza, hunters and gatherers who live roughly the way humans lived tens of thousands of years ago. In 2017, David Sampson and his colleagues strapped movement trackers onto them and watched, for 20 full nights, who was asleep and when. And here is what the trackers showed. Across all 20 nights, there was only one short stretch, about 18 minutes total across every night combined, when absolutely everyone was asleep at once. The rest of the time, someone was always awake. Almost all night, every night, somebody in the camp was not sleeping. And here is the beautiful part. Nobody assigned shifts. Nobody split the night into watches. People of different ages simply fall asleep and wake at different times. The young go to bed late and sleep long. The old drift off early and wake in the dark, around 4, around 5. You know how your grandmother or grandfather is up before dawn while everyone else is dead to the world? You used to think it was just old age and bad sleep. It is an ancient changing of the guard. The elders hold the deepest hour before sunrise, when the young are still spent. The tribe stands watch all on its own, simply because people are different. That is how the line held every night for thousands of years. Outside, a living chain of sentries relieving each other by age. Inside, each person, their own private guard running on half a brain. A fire in the center, bodies packed together, shoulder to shoulder. Now come back to your bedroom, warm, locked, safe. So why are you still uneasy alone in an empty house? Why do you reach to fall asleep under the murmur of the television, or leave the door cracked open, or sleep lighter when nobody is beside you? Because the guard is still on duty, and nobody told him the war ended long ago. Let us talk about that jolt. Have you ever been almost asleep, and suddenly your whole body kicks as if you missed a step and dropped into the air? Your heart pounds, you snap back awake. It happens to most people, to 6 or 7 out of 10. It even has a name. The Hypnic jerk. One explanation people love to repeat goes like this. Long ago, an ancestor would doze off on a branch. The muscles would relax, And for a split second, the brain mistook that relaxation for a real fall. So it yanked the body back so you would grab the branch and not crash to the ground. Only, I have to be straight with you here. It is a lovely guess, but there is no solid proof behind it, and plenty of scientists think it is just a tidy story. So let us keep it as a theory, not a law of nature. But listen to how it fits the whole picture. Even at the very threshold of sleep, in the last second before you go under, something in you runs one final check. Is it quiet? Is it safe to let go? And now, the real turn. Remember where we started? A person lying in the dark, defenseless, with something breathing nearby? Well, this entire system you just learned about, half a brain on watch, the ear tuned to your own name, the elders on patrol, the jolt at the edge of sleep, all of it is still running. In you. Tonight. In an apartment no lion could enter if it tried. You lock the door. You set the alarm on your phone. Between you and the street there is concrete, glass, iron. The most dangerous thing waiting for you tonight is the alarm going off in the morning. And still, alone in a dark room, you feel that old chill. The feeling that you are being watched. So, you are being watched, but not from the dark outside, from the inside. The anxiety that keeps you from sleeping in a strange place, the jerk at the edge of sleep, the habit of waking in the deepest hour for no reason at all, none of it is a malfunction. It is your Sentry. He was hired 1,000,000 years ago, and nobody told him the war ended. He is still faithfully standing his watch over a body that nothing threatens anymore. And your waking in the middle of the night may not be a glitch either. The historian Roger Ekirch dug through hundreds of old diaries, letters, court records, and noticed something odd. People used to sleep in two pieces. There was a first sleep, then people woke in the middle of the night, stayed quietly awake for a while, and then came a second sleep, until morning. A researcher named Vare even ran an experiment. When people had artificial light taken away for weeks and got long, dark nights back, their sleep split itself in two, with exactly that gap of wakefulness in the middle. There is still debate about how widespread this really was. But if it is true, then when you wake in the middle of the night, there is nothing wrong with you. Once that was your watch. A quiet hour of waking in the very heart of the night. By the way, one thought in passing. If restless nights get to you sometimes, you are not broken and you are not the only one. It is worth saying out loud, now and then, to a real person nearby, instead of carrying it in silence. And if it gets truly heavy, that person is someone you can lean on. But let us come back to you, tonight, drifting off. You lie down. You think you are about to be left all alone in the dark, to hand yourself over and fall into nothing. But that is not what happens. In the very moment you let go, someone quietly steps onto watch. The same Sentry who stood over your mother, and over her mother, and over a hunched old man beside a dying fire 10,000 years ago. Over everyone who lived to see the morning and passed this half-open sleep down to you. You have never once slept all the way through. And that is exactly why you are alive right now. Good night. If you made it this far, hit like and subscribe. There are plenty more stories coming about what is hiding inside you.